Well, hello YouTube. Look, I haven't done any videos in front of the actual camera for a while, so I figured, why the hell not? I may as well, because it's always good to show people a public face to everything. In context of it, that's pretty much my generalized belief. It's good to show a face to everything. How is everybody? Well, I'm doing good. So far, life is treating me well, and I'm feeling good, I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling less stressed. Even with my myriad of psychological conditions, I found that I found there's a few things that have made a difference in my life lately. My girlfriend being one of them. She's Canadian. She's a lovely person, and she means the world to me. She does. And I invest a lot in her as a person, and just generally loving her as a person. But aside from that, I've been less stressed. I've been listening to less online dickheads. That helps too. I've been less stressed about things in general, aside from my freaking air conditioner, which needs to be fixed, by the way. But aside from that, I've felt much more clear-minded. I felt much clearer with my own decisions. I felt much more comfortable about myself, because you know what? I figure, fuck, be yourself, be who you want to be, but at the same time, look after yourself. Do what you want for yourself, and don't fucking take into consideration everything else that everybody else says, because half of it ends up being bullshit anyway. I mean, if you can be your own person, be your own strong self inside, and see the good inside yourself. I mean, not so see the good inside the world. I mean, look, the world may give me the shits occasionally. I mean, from the perspective of it, I mean, probably the world gave me shits for a while, because I was probably just seeing one perspective or one line of it. But there is a lot of good people in the world, and there's still a lot of dickheads. You cannot live without dickheads in your life at some point. They're gonna come into your life at some point. It's just how you deal with those dickheads, and it's just how you deal with fuckwits. It's how you deal with stupid people. It's how you deal with people who obviously want to be asses or fuckwits about things. And it's how you deal with them. It's how you deal with them in general, how you don't stress about them. Don't let them get to you. Which, in my mind, that makes sense. Why not? Why not have it to the perspective that why not have it to the perspective that you feel better about yourself as a person? You feel more clearer, you feel... I don't know, just lately I felt more clearer and concise about who I am, how I see things, what things I choose to do, what things I choose not to do. I admit there's some things that I've sort of cut down on. I'm not drinking as much as I normally did. I was a fairly avid drinker. I don't drink as much as I used to. Occasional beer here and there, but I was getting drunk too much too often. Sometimes it was making me a bit cranky, which it's not good when that's the case. And I think in the long term of it, it's what you choose to do. It's how you choose to do things. I have come to my own conclusion that I think everybody's got their opinion. Doesn't mean that their opinion is correct, and it doesn't mean that their opinion is actually right in the first place. Some people will find that what is right for other people is not right for you. You have to find your own path. I wouldn't classify it as path. You have to find your own set of rules to live by. You know what I mean? Your own set of circumstances, your own set of self-preservation, Yeah, it's It just makes sense to me. And in the long term, it's not a bad thing. It's being able to live by your own rules. It's not just that. It's live by the rules of society as well, to a certain degree. And, I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with bending rules in certain situations, but at the same time, you've got to be able to morally live with yourself at the end of it. You know what I mean? So, life is not perfect. Things aren't perfect. I probably wish things at times could be perfect. It's not always the case. No, things aren't perfect. Things are sort of misaligned at times. The universe has a funny way of turning back on you, or a funny way of turning forward on you, or a funny way of making an example of something to you specifically. It's rather mixed up and it's rather crazy at times, and you can never quite go, well, why the fuck would you do that to me? That's like fucking torturing me, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, fuck. It did it because you had to learn the lesson in the first place. It did it because it was how it was placed and set out originally for you. In context, it's not always the best thing for you sometimes. It might be at times at that particular time it'll stress you, but sometimes stress is not a bad thing. It's okay to be stressed sometimes. It's not okay to be stressed all the time, because it's going to lead to further health problems and further issues in your life if you get stressed all the time. But at the same time, I'm remarkably clear-minded in myself that I think I've done the right thing by most people. And there might be a few people that are sort of not necessarily wronged, but a few people I didn't say anything to, or I didn't do something specifically for. But, you know, like, I've come to my own conclusion in these things, right? Ultimately people make their own mistakes, but the repetitive thing is making the same damn mistake over and over again, you know? Whether it be some type of addiction that you have, whether it be smoking otherwise, or something of that nature. It's making the same damn mistakes over and over again and constantly wanting the same result. That's like, you know, it just does not compute, pretty much. I've come to the conclusion of myself that I think if you can live with yourself and you can be who you want to be, you can be a good person, you can be kind, compassionate, and understanding to other people. At the same time, don't let people fucking overtake you and overdraw you and try to control you through levels of manipulation, you know? I mean, there's so often these days people do it. I mean, look, I hate to point it out, but there are people out there who will just manipulate the shit out of you. They will try to get control of everything that they can, because they believe it's better for you, because they believe they know better. But it's not always the case. It's not always the case that they know better. It's just their perception that they do. So, you know, I think everybody's entitled to their perception, but I don't believe that, you know, everybody is right about that necessarily right about their perception of things. I've learned to be more perceptive now of things around me. I'm more attentive to detail. I've seen what people have done wrong to me. I've seen how people respond to me. I've come to the conclusion, if people want to really, really be dickheads to me, they can get fucked. But at the same side of it, I've just gone, well, you know, I am who I am. Like, there's not a lot that changes about me. There's a few things that change about me. I mean, maybe my lifestyle will change. My lifestyle changes a bit, and it has changed a bit since I met my girlfriend, and my lifestyle's changed, myself has changed, and maybe I'm not as ranty as I used to be, but then a lot of my rants weren't necessarily me on a bit of a drunken, you know, spat about things. But then there are legitimate reasons for ranting about shit, because when something pisses you off to the point where it's like, well, why the fuck does that need fixing? There's the example of that problem that I'm having at the moment. There's this little issue that I'm having. Or I don't know. I call it a major when your fucking video driver crashes. This issue I'm having at the moment with fucking. It's NVIDIA drivers. It's the NVIDIA video drivers combined with the Logitech G600 and the Logitech G930 headset software. It doesn't like. I don't know what it is. It's almost like it's fucking possessed. It does not like. It just seems to conflict. Now, the funny part is, I had all the same exact amount of software installed. I didn't install anything new, and all of a sudden, the problem just crops up out of nowhere. I did a format back to everything that was originally there, And it worked for a while. And then all of a sudden, bang, it started again. Now, this is what makes me think that maybe it's something that's getting corrupted accidentally, which that's a possibility, I'm not denying that. But, I don't know, like, I think it always, in my mind, it always comes back to designing and software. I don't know, to me it always comes back to the software engineers. I mean, I'm not saying you can plan for every eventuality, but you can plan for a good amount of them. I mean, we live in a society where it's possible with a lot of the technology we have to plan for a lot of eventualities that most people wouldn't even think about. And it's getting much more easier to plan for those eventualities or those problems happening in the first place. So, there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of the technology these days, especially when it's quite easy to do. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like 8 cores or, you know, whether it be 8 cores or otherwise, or, you know, i7 or whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. My point is, the freaking processors have enough power to be able to do and calculate the risks. At the moment, anyway. I mean, obviously the processors are going to get more advanced, but we are sort of hit a stagnant point in the market now because we're still on the same level of processors we were a while back. We still got prototype technology coming out of Asia, China, those areas. But a lot of it is prototype technology and it's being tested. And it's not being put for... I mean, it's put for its paces over there, but it's also being put for its paces a bit more. But... cheap technology, new technology. I mean, look, it's sort of... It's a catch-22 situation when it comes to cheap technology or reliable technology. This is the ultimate question. Well, between it all, really. I mean, do you want cheap technology or do you want reliable technology? Which, the cheaper you make something, the more logically, the more it would be less unreliable. But, well, sorry, less reliable, correct me. Yeah, like, this is the thing that I'm sort of leaving myself with a scratch in my head thinking, well, okay, so hold on a moment. I mean, well, as an example, this screen I got from South Korea was basically a reject panel from somebody else. But I mean, if people are willing to accept, or willing to come down, or they're willing to accept some leeway with some technology, say something's a bit cheaper because maybe it doesn't have as many features as something else, that's fine. But I don't think, and I will be honest, this is true of any marketing department. The marketing department tries to sell things, right? They try to sell things for the features and the other bits and pieces. And there's also the marketing hype too. Most people don't realise the marketers themselves are a sociopathic, sadistic bunch. Maybe not necessarily sadistic, but they're sociopathic anyway. Because they have a tendency to want to manipulate people into getting something they don't necessarily need or want. No, actually, probably not need. But, I mean, at the same time, they do have a tendency to manipulate certain aspects of the market. But I'm all for advertising a product. I'm all for selling the product. But sell it for what you're selling it for. Not for what some salesman can make it sound like it's floating out of some golden god's ass or something, you know? I mean, that's pretty much my whole run-to on that, to be honest. I mean, why would you, yeah. It just leaves me going, well, hold on a moment. I mean, what the fuck? Seriously. The honest opinion that I have of that is that you shouldn't buy something just because it sounds like that, or just because it has that certain snap to it. I mean, I bought this screen, which it wasn't even its own advertising, it was just other people, general people that I talk to, and that I go and look on the internet for. And this is just like, I look at the screen, I'm going, holy crap, that's a freaking cheap screen, and its freaking resolution is amazing. I didn't buy it because it was the most expensive. I didn't buy it because it was the best. I bought it because it was cheap. And mainly for the freaking resolution, for the fact that the actual screen, in context of itself, doesn't look that fucking bad. I mean, for the fact that it's not designed to be the most expensive, most fancy fucking screen on the entire planet with all the push fucking buttons of everything else. I suppose you've got your brightness up, down, and a fucking power off button, pretty much. But, like, the things that I've got, I mean, like Best Buys, I mean, I think it's just an idea to take general advice from people who just, they buy things because they buy things, not buy things because they're gonna, they're simply gonna buy them. I mean, okay, I've had a couple of my wasteful moments, I admit, maybe with some things, but I'll buy something because I want to actually get some benefit out of it, in the long run. Well, to example, see, my other headset, I had a Logitech headset which broke, and I replaced it with this, with the Turtle Beach headset, and I gotta say though, the Z6A is not a bad headset for the price and for the fact that it's not overly expensive. It's a freaking good boosted headset with 5.1 sound, and I'm sitting there and going, damn, that's pretty nice. Mucked around with surround sounds, front back mics and mute mics and everything else. It's pretty good. I mean, to be honest, it's pretty good with my YouTube videos as well. It's another reason I bought it too. And the freaking mic is amazingly picked up. It picks up really well. I think there's a couple of other things I bought. Well, I bought this. I mean, it was only $10. It was from Aldi's. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about, I bought an air conditioner from Aldi's. Now look, I don't necessarily say that everything from Aldi's is cheap, but not everything from Aldi's is unreliable. My air conditioner seemed like every other thing that I've ever got from Aldi's, which was like a little fridge bar sort of wine cooler. It works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It works fine. It's been working for a long time. I just needed a fridge, so I actually got a fridge instead. Mind you, I still got that fridge. I mean, the fridge was only $169, so it's still cheap compared to anything like bar fridges, compared to prices that you go and shop around these days at different shops. I mean, Good Guys actually I got it from. It's a Hisense fridge, but I got it because I wanted it to be able to cool my drinks. Pepsi, beer, water, or otherwise, or juice for that matter. But, like, $10 for a universal remote, right? And I mean, considering that this universal remote lights up, for one, which is pretty handy, most of the, like, I don't know, back in the day, I probably paid, this is another one that I had that I found in the back of the cupboard, and I didn't realise I still had it. I actually thought I got rid of it, but this is a Logitech one. This Logitech one doesn't rely on codes, it relies on updating online. At the time it cost me, oh god, it wasn't cheap. It was probably about $150 or something for that, right? This on the other hand was $10 these days at Aldi. All programmable. Put the right codes in and you're on and off and set, and you can muck around with your TVs. And even hook it to your PC too. The Logitech Harmony, I think 520, which was a good remote. I'm not saying this isn't a good remote, but compared to years ago, the price of things like this, and this, admittedly, some areas, our quality's got better. I'm not going to deny that. Then some areas the quality's got worse. Or the dud quality, as I like to call it. I mean, something coming out of the shelf or out of the packet and it doesn't frickin' work has increased exponentially because it just has. I know, because I've had at least 2 or 3 different things die on me as I've tried to use them or just start to use them. Now, these weren't cheap things either. They weren't overly cheap. They weren't so underpriced, or they weren't so cheap that I would consider them to actually fail that quick. Then saying that, maybe that's the production cost that we pay for in China, you know? I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we're paying for it a little bit, but I have noticed, since things have mainly been start to be made in China now, the quality of certain things is getting better. Some things are getting better, some things are getting worse. But then saying that the time periods that most things last, I mean, think it was a few years ago. It was, it's like a few things I was looking at, like the quality of some things. It's not just the quality, but like motherboard quality, I know has gone up. That's gone up dramatically. Like you buy a board from ASUS or whatever. Now these days they've all got closed off capacitors, because years ago China was making everything with closed in, like capacitors that actually opened up the top, and that was a lot. The quality of those wasn't extremely good because of how often they died and how often the capacitor burst. Electronics, remarkably, they are getting better. But then you're going to have those moments where companies cost cut. And you're going to have those moments where companies will take a moment or a few moments to cost cut something down. And may not necessarily be the same quality. But to that argument, it's like anything. It's just luck of the draw. You can buy like a $200 fucking more power supply, $300 power supply or something, and it can blow up after 2 hours. I know, because a friend did this. He bought a nice Corsair. Now Corsair's a good brand, and the freaking thing blew up after 2 hours. I'm sitting there going, how is that even possible? But even the good stuff has its moments where it's going to blow up in your face, or it's going to die in the ass. It's a sad fact. Electronics, it's just, if something, I don't know, Murphy's Law, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong in that time. And I think you'd rather have it go wrong early than later, because later it's harder to fix. Not just harder to fix, but it's harder to get a replacement as well, which most people opt for. But this just comes on my own personal opinion. These are just some of the conclusions I've come to. Yes, electronics wear out, things go to shit, sometimes things blow out, things, don't work as good as they used to, things wear and tear. I mean, you got general wear and tear. But then a lot of companies these days are actually giving general wear and tear warranty because of how easily something can break these days. But then some people would argue and come back and say, well, let's see how well you look after it. Not necessarily. You can you can freaking have something vacuum wrapped, sealed and synced, and it still could fucking not work for you even when you pull it out after that, As somebody who treats my stuff relatively well, I mean, I have my moments where I don't necessarily treat it. I might have the little drop here and there, little thing here and there and stuff, And I mean, accidents do happen. But, I mean, I try not to do anything too stupid with my stuff. But I've had my moments where something's accidentally got broken because somebody's fell on it, or somebody's dropped it, or somebody's done something in particular, And the conclusion I'm coming to is you're going to have people, things are going to break. Things are not designed, for things that are not designed to last long enough, they will break. They will break, and they will, need replacing or need repairing, basically. So, but that is the world. The world is the world, and the world is just pretty much, it's not a bad place. That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned from talking, talking to my girlfriend and stuff, and just, not just talking to her, but having something in my life that's sustainable. Having love in my life, and that helps. Having that in my life, and having other things in my life. I mean, material goods only fill so much, of the requirements in your life. So, I mean, family fill the rest, Family are important. Family matter. Your friends also matter too. I mean, your friends, I think everybody's friends should matter to them. It's just, as long as they're the right friends. I mean, you don't want the wrong friends either, As I say, choose your friends carefully, be wise of your decisions, and always pay heed. I don't know, because I had moments in life where I was a bit gullible. It was a long time ago. and I'm not as gullible as I used to be. I'm not as naive. I used to be a bit naive sometimes, and now I've learned not to be naive about things, and I've learned to be attentive, probably a little bit paranoid too, but I've learned to be attentive to things and pay attention, you know. And the conclusion that I come to is you have to. In modern day society, you can't rely specifically on people, because there are going to be moments where people let you down. There's going to be moments where things let you down. There's going to be well, not things, but there's going to be moments where people let you down, and people you think you can rely on may let you down. You know? And I don't think anybody's perfect either. I mean, everybody's going to have their stupid moments. Everybody's going to do stupid things. Whether, I mean, you know, people are going to have their moments where drugs or alcohol are involved. Mostly in those stupid decisions. A percentage of the people I've seen online when it comes to this type of stuff, yeah, most of it was related to drugs or alcohol being the primary flick switch that told them not to do the stupid thing in the first place. But there's the other side of it too. I mean, there's the other side that, you know, people can have that deeper mind. I mean, can have that most, you know, not criminal instinct. Well, I guess you could call it criminal instinct, but I guess you could call it the instinct to be able to know when somebody is weaker and see through, you know, see that they can take advantage of that. And the sad fact is there are people out there like that who will take advantage of you if you're not careful, who will take advantage of you to the point where you're almost broke and out of money and you have nothing left. There's people out there these days that will literally bleed you dry. I mean, there's sociopath, psychopath combination, probably in both combinations of those, because I'm reading through a few psychology books. It's interesting. It's a little bit of a tagline in itself, but there are people out there, and the thing is, these people can seem so fucking innocent on the surface, you know, so not just innocent, but just so, you know, simplified. But they're not. They're not. I mean, they're not. They know in the back of their mind. They know. You know. They know exactly what's going on, and they've worked it out that their survival is key to it. You know. And yeah, they can do that to you. Trust me. It happens. It happens all the time across the internet, in life in general. Yeah, everything. Those combinations of things happen. Best thing you can do is look after yourself, look after your family, and choose your friends wisely. And, you know, be relaxed about yourself, don't stress. Because stress is the biggest bloody killer in the world. Stressing about something, stressing about things in general, will cause you nothing but grief. It will give you nothing but pain, anguish, and irritable, fucking annoying health problems. Sometimes just relaxing and not giving a flying fuck about what any other motherfucker thinks of you. And to be honest, I've come to that conclusion. I really don't give a shit anymore. I don't care what people think of me. I'm my own man. I am. Simply put, I'm my own man. I'm making my way in the world. I'm doing what I need to do to make my wage, to earn my way. To earn my way to be a better person. Not just a better person, but to become a family man, to have a kid, you know? And makes sense to me. You do that. You do stuff like that, you know? You do that for yourself in its own right, you know? And you got to be able to stand up for yourself too. You got to be able to tell people to fight kindly, or just not even kindly. You just got to be able to tell people to fuck off and give them the middle finger at the same time. Or just, you know, smack them in the fucking legs and break their leg. No, I'm kidding. That's pretty extreme, but still. No, there are some people who I swear who deserve to get their head smacked in with a golf club, but that's just me. That's my personal opinion. See? Everybody takes my personal opinion, but inherently I'm not a violent person. The only reason I'll get violent is if somebody pisses me off or threatens my family or threatens my well-being. Then I will get pissed off. Then I will cause injury. But if I don't feel threatened, no, that's normally, if I don't feel threatened, I'm fine. I can be relaxed. I can be perfectly relaxed and feel good about myself. But, yeah. Then there's a combination of things, too, that I've had a couple of females who sort of made me feel like crap, too. Yeah. Just different ones on IMVU and stuff, and it happens. It's gonna happen, and I've come to my own conclusion that I guess some people are just sociopathic that way, aren't they? I don't know. I think some people get on IMVU and things like that just to play with people's hearts and play with people's emotions and just play with them to the point where the person feels like crap. And I don't think that's right. IMVU in my mind is sort of technically a dating site. Okay, in my mind it is anyway. And it's not really, it's a dating site, but it's also a bit of a game. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with having fun, but if you're going to have fun, I don't understand how somebody can have fun by hurting somebody's emotions and making them feel like shit. How the fuck is that fun? That's just fucking degrading, and it's fucking terrible to the person you're doing it to. And all you're doing is perpetuating a stereotype of fucking bitches and assholes. You know what I mean? It's just the people I've come across on IMVU. But then you've got drama queens too. You've got drama queens, you've got bullshit, you've got dumb shit too. Just fucking got a combination of it all. And it's just gonna add up. But I just went, fuck it, I do what I want. I care about myself and I care about my family. My family's primary goal. My family matters to me. Yes, my friends matter just as much, but my family always comes first, before my friends. I'm willing to help my friends if I can help them, but my family always comes first in that priority line. So, then some people don't have a good family. But I can say, fortunately, that I grew up in a good family. I grew up in a lovely family. I grew up in a wonderful family, in fact. And, that's the reason, I don't know, I wish everybody could grow up in a good family. If I had a wish to ultimately see people grow up in a good family, that would be my ultimate wish. I'd want to see people grow up in a good family, under a good perspective, and, feel good about themselves because of it. But not everybody's that way, and not everybody has the same thing. Some people get a drug addiction, some people get other types of addictions. There's all manner of different addictions, and I don't know. I put it to the point that as long as your addiction does not overtake your desire to want to have self-preservation or keep yourself alive or keep your family in a healthy state, then there's nothing wrong with having a slight addiction to something. But if it gets to the point where you're buying a drug or a smoke or alcohol, right, and you're not looking after your family at all, that is fucking fucked. I'm sorry, but if you can't afford to feed your family because you bought cigarettes or you bought alcohol, that, in my mind, is a bit stupid and fucked up. Well, even if you bought meth or fucking heroin or whatever. My point is, if you did that shit, in my mind, that's fucked. If you can't even look after your family because of that, then you clearly have more of a bad underlying addiction than you thought you had in the first place. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And I can honestly say that my addiction, just sort of a little bit addicted to alcohol. I'm going to admit it. I'm going to be honest, and a little bit addicted to alcohol. But I'm not overly addicted either. I can go without it if I need to. So, ultimately, comes down to the person, comes down to the individual. You make your own choices. Everybody makes their own choices. And guess some people don't always make the right one. 'Tis life regardless. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there, YouTube. I've rambled on enough tonight, it seems. all the bits and bobs I've rambled on about, but it's alright, I'm going to leave it anyway. I'm going to let you ponder these thoughts that I've given you and just work it out in your own mind and see where your mind goes with it. Yeah. And just thought I'd get on cam anyway and say hello. Alright, testing, 1, 2, 3, testicles, 1, 2, 3, just saying. Well, you know, testicles, either way. What? I don't know, I really don't know anymore, I'm just insane. I already knew that part pretty much from the beginning. I was just, crazy doesn't even cover the level of brain fucked-uppedness that I have. That's not even a fucking word, but we'll just go with it, eh? Alright, thank you. Catch ya.